Hello there, welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode number 28. Robert Max here. Excuse me, hope everyone's doing well. And in this episode, we're returning to time travel baseball and the 70s rival series between the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies, utilizing cards created by Daniel Forcier. I'll leave a link in the video description on how you can reach Daniel if you're interested in more information about these cards. We're tied at one. The series is tied 1-1, and we're moving to Shea Stadium in New York for game number 3. Games 3, 4, and 5 will be in New York. All 3 games will be necessary, as this is a best-of-7 series. And let's get to the starting lineups for the visiting Phillies. Leading off at second base is Dave Cash. Bake McBride is second. He plays right field. Mike Schmidt's at third. He bats third. Greg Luzinski is in left field and bats fourth. Del Unser is at first base. He's batting fifth. Gary Maddox in center field bats sixth. Bob Boone, the catcher, bats seventh. Larry Boa, shortstop, he bats eighth. And batting ninth and pitching is right-hander Rick Wise. He is a workhorse, and he is also a dangerous batter, so we have to replace his card with the dangerous pitcher hitting card, and that's right here. So we'll put that in the lineup for Rick Weiss. For the home Mets, leading off Tommy Agee, he's in center field. Felix Millan, second base, bats second. Cleon Jones is in left field. He's batting third. Dave Kingman's in right field. He bats fourth. Wayne Garrett's at third base. He's batting fifth. Art Shamsky's in first base, batting sixth. Jerry Grody is the catcher. He's batting seventh. Bud Harrelson at shortstop bats eighth. And batting ninth and on the mound is Jerry Koosman, left-hander. This card is from his 1973 season. He is a normal hitting pitcher, so we'll replace his card in the lineup with the pitcher hitting card. All right, Koosman finishes his warm-up tosses. Dave Cash steps up to the plate, and we are underway. We have a 6 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a sharp ground out to shortstop Bud Harrelson over to Art Shamsky for out number 1. 6-3. And there's one away. That brings up Bake McBride. And we have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. That's a line fly out to center fielder Tommy Agee for out number 2. That brings up Michael Jack. Nobody on 2 outs. Double 5s. It's coming off of the pitcher's card, and that is a single. So 2-out single for Mike Schmidt. He's on first for Greg Luzinski. And we roll an 8 coming off the pitcher's card. That's a chop ground out to second base. Felix Millan over to Art Shamsky for out number 3. 4-3. Out number 3. So the Phillies do get a base hit, leave Mike Schmidt stranded, and after 1/2 inning of play, it's the Phillies nothing and the Mets coming to bat. Rick Wise comes out to the mound. First batter he's going to face is center fielder Tommy Agee. And we have double 3s. And double 3s is coming off the batter's card, and that's a leadoff double for Agee. So Agee's on second with 1 out. I should mention that with Rick Wise being a workhorse, he is not subject to the rule of 5s for fatigue. Jerry Koosman, however, is. All right, man on second, nobody out for Felix Millan. We have a 9 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a sharp ground out. And the runner will hold at second. That ground out by Millan goes to the shortstop, Larry Boa, over to Del Unser for out number 1. 6-3. Agee holds. That brings up Cleon Jones. And we have an 8 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a chop ground out. Batter to first on fielder's choice. No. Runner's not forced. He'll hold at second. And that is a ground out to shortstop, 6-3. For out number 2. Here's Dave Kingman. Got a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to right field. And Dave Kingman's under that one. And that's out number 3. So the Mets get a leadoff double from Tommy Agee, but leave him stranded. And after 1 inning of play, no score. Koosman comes back out to the mound for the top of the second. He'll face Del Unser, Gary Maddox, and Bob Boone. Got a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. Let's take a gamble. There's nobody on base. Single, left field. Batter out in collision at second base. If batter is extra effort, check injury for second base. Well, batter's not extra effort, so it's a leadoff single for Unser. And he's on first, nobody out. Here's Gary Maddox, center fielder. Double threes. Double threes coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a walk. So the Phillies have first and second with nobody out. For Bob Boone. Boone homered in the last game. We have a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. That's an infield fly or pop out, and the runners will hold. Boone pops that out to second baseman Felix Millan, and that's out number 1. Here's Larry Boa. Have a 3 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's the first strikeout of the game, and it's Jerry Koosman's first strikeout. That's out number 2. 1 strikeout for Koosman. It's going to bring up Rick Wise. He is a dangerous batting pitcher. And we have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a chop ground out to shortstop Bud Harrelson. Over to Art Shamsky for out number 3. So the Phillies have 2 runners in the top of the second, but leave them stranded. They're 1.5. Still no score. Rick Wise back out to the mound. He'll face Wayne Garrett, Art Shamsky, and Jerry Grody. Double ones. Coming off the batter's card, this is deep. Way back, high, out of here, gone over the right field fence, and it's a leadoff home run for Wayne Garrett, and the Mets are on the board 1-0. And Garrett, of course, gets an RBI for that. Here's Art Shamsky. We have an 11 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a walk. So Shamsky on first, nobody out for Jerry Grody. The Mets lead 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. We have an 11 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that is a walk. So Rick Wise is at 3 for the rule of 5. Well, he's a workhorse, so he doesn't apply. That does not mean he will not get yanked. So it's first and second with nobody out for Bud Harrelson. And Harrelson rolls an 8 off of the batter's card, and that's another walk. He walks the bases loaded after giving up a home run. He gives up a single, 3 walks in a row. So Harrelson's on first. Grody's on second. Shamsky's on third. The bases are loaded with nobody out. Jerry Koosman. And the Phillies are going to start to get some action up in the bullpen. Have the wheels fallen off Rick Weiss. And that is going to be Chris Short. We're going to get him up. And Joe Horner. Get both of those. No, not Joe Horner. He's a lefty. Gene Garber. Gene Garber's going to get up and start taking some warm-up tosses for the Phillies. So it's Chris Short and Garber warming up. Bases loaded, nobody out. Mets are up 1-0 already. And here's Jerry Koosman. And we have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. It's Take a Gamble. That's a single to center field. Stars shortstop makes nice leaping grab of hot smash and runners hold. So Larry Boa is a star shortstop, so that is going to be a line out to 6 for the first out. The base is still loaded. Back to the top of the order for Tommy Agee. And that is an 8 coming off of the batter's card. The Phillies did not bring the infield in. I should have done that, but I did not. Okay, so an 8 coming off of the batter's card is a hard ground out to second base. Runners advance 1 base, alert defense, double play. Runner on first base is out. Okay. What I forgot to do was total up, I'm pretty sure the Phillies are the alert defense. 3, 6, 9, 10, 12, 14, 17, 18 for the Phillies. 9, 10, 12, 14, 17, 18. Oh, it might be the Mets. 3, 5, 8, 10, 12, 15, 17, 19, 20. Yeah, it is the Mets. Okay, so that's going to be a, what did we say it was? An 8. Hard ground out. Runners advance 1 base. So that would be a ground out to second base. AG goes down 4-3, but he gets an RBI. It's the second out. Harrelson moves to second. Shamsky Grody to third. And Shamsky scores. And it's 2-0 Mets. So we got runners at second and third with 2 outs for Felix Mion. And let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. He is still not fatigued. That's Rick Wise. We're going to leave him out there. All right, we got a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to shortstop Larry Boa. Over to Del Unser for out number 3. But the Mets do score 2 runs, and after 2 innings of play, it's the Mets 2 and the Phillies nothing. Koosman comes back out to the mound with a 2-run lead, top of the third. The first batter he's going to face is top of the order, and Dave Cash. And that's a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's Take a Gamble. There's nobody on base. It's a bounce out to shortstop. Shortstop 0 mishandles the ball. Well, Bud Harrelson is a 2, I believe. Yes, he's a 2. So it's a bounce out 6-3. That's Harrelson over to Shamsky for out number 1. Whoops. Wrong team. 6-3. Out 1. All right. That brings up Bake McBride. 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a line out to left field. And Cleon Jones has got that one. That's out number 2. Brings up Mike Schmidt. He singled his first time up in the first inning. And that's a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card. And it's strikeout number 2 for Jerry Koosman. And out number 3. So the Phillies go down 1-2-3 in the third. And after 2.5, it's the Mets 2 and the Phillies nothing. And Rick Wise got a little bit of a rest there in the dugout. He's going to come back out. He's facing Cleon Jones, Dave Kingman, and Wayne Garrett. We have an 8 coming off of the batter's card, and that's another walk. Okay, Garber and Short are going to warm up as necessary if Wise gets in trouble again. He's going to have to come out of the game. Dallas Green's going to pull him. All right, here's Dave Kingman with a man on first. We have a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a hard ground out. And the Phillies are not the alert defense. So the runner does advance on the hard ground out. So the ground out is to shortstop. So Kingman grounds out 6-3. Boa to Unser for the first out, but Jones moves up to second. So Cleon Jones is on second with 1 out for Wayne Garrett. All right, we have an 8 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a chop ground out. Batter the first on fielder's choice. And so that would be to shortstop again. Well, it's a fielder's choice. So he's on first. And Jones is thrown out trying to go to third for the second out. All right. So Garrett's on first with 2 outs for Art Shamsky. And we have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. Let's take a gamble. There is a runner on first. It's a single to left field, runner to third. If the left fielder is a star, runner is out on a rundown. Fast, daring, extra effort batter takes second base. So left fielder for the Phillies, Luzinski is not a star fielder. So that is a single and a runner to third. So Garrett moves over to third. Shamsky singles. And there's runners on the corners with 2 outs for Jerry Grody. Mets catcher. We have a 5. That was a 3 and a 2. A 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a single. That's going to score a run. Man on first moves to second. Other runners score. So Grody singles, gets the RBI. Wayne Garrett scores. Mets are up 3-0. That was a fielder's choice. And Shamsky moves to second base. So it's first and second with 2 outs, and that's going to be it for Rick Wise. So coming up for the Mets is Bud Harrelson. So we're going to bring in right-hander Gene Garber. He is a regular reliever. He is also a workhorse, so he is not subject to the rule of 5s. But he is a regular hitting pitcher, so we'll have to replace the card in the lineup when the time comes. The pitcher hitting card. Okay. So the first batter that Garber's going to face is Bud Harrelson. Well, he's a switch hitter, so it doesn't really matter. But it's Garber versus Harrelson with 2 outs, runners at first and second. And we have double ones. And this is coming off of the pitcher's card. It's to deep right field. It's back high out of here over the head of Bake McBride. And Bud Harrelson hits a 3-run home run. And the floodgates have opened. Wow. And now the Mets are up 6-0. 3-run home run for Bud Harrelson. Wow. All right. Here's Jerry Koosman with 2 outs. No, that was with 2 outs. My. An 8 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Garber. And that's out number 3. But the Mets do pick up 4 more runs, and after 3, lead 6-0. My. Didn't know Bud Harrelson had that in him. Well, I know he's hit home runs in his career, but you know what I'm saying. All right, Jerry Koosman comes back out with a 6-run cushion, and he's going to face Luzinski, Unser, and Maddox. Double 6s, that's out of here, gone. That goes deep to left field. And Cleon Jones just watches it go over his head, and the Phillies are on the board with a leadoff home run. from Greg Luzinski. On the double sixes. All right, 6-1 here in the top of the fourth, and here's Del Unser. We have a 10 coming off the batter's card, and that's a short single with a question mark. They're both lefties, and that means it's a strikeout, and that's strikeout number 3 for Kuzman. It's out number 1. Here's Gary Maddox. Mets lead 6-1 here in the top of the fourth. That's a 9 coming off the pitcher's card. That's an infield pop-up to the shortstop, Bud Harrelson. Home run hitting Bud Harrelson. And that's out number 2. All right, here's Bob Boone. Nobody on, 2 outs. Boone rolls a 7 off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to center fielder Tommy Agee, and that's out number 3. So the Phillies do get on the board with Luzinski's home run. And after 3.5 innings of play, it's the Mets 6 and the Phillies 1. Gene Garber comes back out. And I need to mark that down on the Phillies card here. G-A-R-B-E-R. All right, I got him there. All right. Garber will face the top of the order and Tommy Agee. And we have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to center fielder Gary Maddox, and that's out number 1. Here's Felix Mion. He's 0 for 2. And that's a double 5s. And that is off the pitcher's card, and that's a single. So a 1-out single for Mion. He's on first base. And here's Cleon Jones. And that is double 2s. And either way, it's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 2 for Gene Garber. And it's also out 2. So Mion's on first with 2 outs, and Dave Kingman. Kingman is 0 for 2. But not anymore, because he hits this deep to center field over Gary Maddox's head, and it is a 2-run home run for Dave Kingman. And it just continues. 2 more runs for the Mets, and it's now 8-1. And 2 RBIs for Kingman. Here's Wayne Garrett. We have an 8 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 4. Excuse me, number 3 for Garber. And it's the 3rd out. But the Mets score 2 more runs on Kingman's home run, and after 4 innings of play, it's the Mets 8, the Phillies 1. Jerry Kuzman strolls back out to the mound for the top of the 5th, and Larry Boa. And we have a 5 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 4 for Kuzman. And there's 1 away. Garber's going to stay in the game. Now we have to replace his hitting card, the dangerous card, with a regular pitcher hitting card. Garber's going to be the trooper. If the Phillies get back in this game, we might make another pitching change. All right. So there is 1 out for Gene Garber. And we have a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's Take a Gamble. Star center field, which is what we have, I believe, with Tommy Agee. Let me double check. I believe he's a star. Yes, he is. Okay, star center fielder. Long run and leap at the wall robs batter of a hit. Otherwise, deep drive caroms off center field wall and away from fielder for a double. But he is a star, so it is just a deep, long fly out to Tommy Agee for out number 2. And we're back to the top of the order. And Dave Cash. Cash is 0 for 2. 2 ground outs to shortstop. And we have an 11 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a single. It's a 2-out single for Dave Cash. So he's on first base. Next up, Bake McBride. McBride rolls a 7 off of the batter's card. It's a line fly out to right field. And Dave Kingman is under that for out number 3. So the Phillies get a hit but do not score. And after 4.5, it's the Mets 8 and the Phillies 1. Gene Garber back out. First batter he faces is Art Shamsky, the first baseman. We have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. It's take a gamble. And it's an infield pop out to shortstop. If batter's salary is greater than pitcher's salary, play is a single. Well, I don't see any. It is a single because Shamsky is a $1 sign. Garber is nothing. So it is a single to center field. So leadoff single for Shamsky. That's his 3rd time on base. He's 2 for 2 with a walk and a couple of runs scored. Here's Jerry Grody, Mets catcher. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a run scored. And that's a 3 coming off of the batter's card, or excuse me, pitcher's card. And that is a deep fly out to right field. Shamsky holds, and that's out number 1. Bud Harrelson hit a 3-run home run his last time up. It's an 8 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a walk. 1-out walk to Harrelson. Shamsky moves up to second for Jerry Koosman. He's just going to swing away. We've got a 5 coming off of the batter's card. It's a sharp ground out. And that goes to second baseman Dave Cash, over to Larry Boa, and then from there over to Del Unser for a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. So in the 5th, the Mets do not score, but they lead 8-1 as we go to the top of the 6th. Kuz comes back out. He'll face Schmidt, Luzinski, and Del Unser. And that is a 3 coming off of the batter's card. That's a hard ground out to shortstop Bud Harrelson. Over to Art Shamsky for out number 1. Here's Greg Luzinski. Remember, you can go to the Time Travel Baseball Game Facebook group and look up Daniel Forcier if you want more information about these beautiful cards. All right, that is a 6 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 5 for Jerry Koosman. And that's out number 2 here in the top of the 6th. Here's Del Unser. Unser is 1 for 2 with a single. And we have an 11 coming off the batter's card, and that's strikeout number 6 for Kuz. He's just cruising along now, other than the home run he gave up to Greg Luzinski. That's out number 3 here in the top of the 6th. Phillies do not score. And after 5.5, it's the Mets 8, Phillies 1. Gene Garber coming back out. He's taking this one for the team, at least for right now. He's facing the top of the order, A.G., Milan, and Cleon Jones. He got a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a slow ground out to second baseman Dave Cash, over to Del Unser for out number 1. Here's Felix Mian. Mian's 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. And we have a 3 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a deep fly out to center fielder Gary Maddox. That's out number 2. Cleon Jones. Cleon Jones is 0 for 2 with a walk. We have an 8 coming off of the batter's card, and that's another walk for Cleon Jones. So we have a 2-out base runner for the Mets in Cleon Jones. He's on first base, and Dave Kingman, who has homered in this game. Homered his last time up. And we have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a slow ground out to third baseman Mike Schmidt, over to Del Unser, and that's out number 3. So the Mets do not score in the bottom of the 6th, but after 6 innings of play, the Mets lead 8-2. Kuzman back out. Gary Maddox. And we have a 6 coming off of the batter's card. It's a slow ground out to shortstop Bud Harrelson over to Art Shamsky, and that's out number 1. Here's catcher Bob Boone. Double ones. It's coming off the batter's card. That's deep to center field. Tommy Agee back. It's back over his head, over the wall, out of here, gone. Home run for Bob Boone. I believe that's his 2nd homer of the series. And it's now 8-2. Boone gets an RBI, so there's 1 out. Scores 8-2, and here's Larry Boa. Larry Boa, 7 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's take a gamble. Pitcher gets a little wild and walks him. Careless, which the Mets are not. Batter moves to second on a pass ball. Okay. So it's just a walk. It's a walk for Boa. So Boa's on first with 1 out. And it's 8-2. And I think that's going to be it for Garber. Going to bring up a pinch hitter. And that's going to be... Let's see. Who do we want to bring up? I think it's going to be Denny Doyle. Denny Doyle is going to pinch hit for Gene Garber. So we'll take the pitcher hitting card out. And let's see, here in the 7th, it's going to be Doyle. And Chris Short will be the pitcher for the Phillies when they come back out onto the field. All right, so we have a man on first with 1 out. Jerry Kuzman facing Denny Doyle. And we have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a line fly out to center field, but the runners hold, so that doesn't work out for the Phils. That's a fly out to Agee for out number 2. And Boa holds on first. All right. So Chris Short is a regular hitter. We'll replace that card. All right. Top of the order, Dave Cash. Man on first, 2 outs. We have a 4 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a walk. Is Kuzman running out of steam? So a 2-out walk to Cash. That moves Boa to second. It's first and second for the Phils with 2 outs. And Bake McBride. That's a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. Let's take a gamble. Lead runners on second. It's a single. Advances runner 2 bases. Daring batter takes second. Well, McBride is a daring batter, so he hits a single. Single for McBride. Cash moves to third. Boa scores. So now it's 8-3. McBride gets an RBI and moves up to second due to his daring status. So it's second and third with 2 outs. And it's 8-3. Here's Michael Jack. We have a 3 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 5. 5 for Kuzman? That's 6 for Kuzman. All right. So that's the 3rd out, but the Phillies do score 2 runs in the top of the 7th. And after 6.5, it's the Mets 8, the Phillies 3. Okay, Gene Garber, his day was over. It's going to be Chris Short facing Wayne Garrett, and because they're both lefties, for this first batter, Chris Short gets the shutout card. That's only for the first batter he faces because they're both lefties. All right, so we get a 4 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a slow ground out to shortstop Larry Boa over to Del Unser for out number 1. All right, so the shutout card goes away. And I didn't put Short in the game here. Let's see. We got to put him in the game. So short comes in the bottom of the 7th. And there he is, short. And let's see, the first batter he faced was Wayne Garrett. Okay. All right. One away for Art Shamsky. And we have a 9 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out. Back to pitcher Chris Short. Over to Del Unser for out number 2. 1-3 and 2 away. Jerry Grody. Double ones. Coming off the pitcher's card. That's a deep fly ball to right field. Bake McBride's back, and it is gone. A solo home run for Jerry Grody. Mets get one of those runs back. And now lead 9-3. 2-out home run. Here's Bud Harrelson. He has a 3 RBI home run in this game. He got double 4s. And either way, it's a strikeout. It's the first strikeout for Chris Short. And that's out number 3. But the Mets get another run on Jerry Grody's solo home run. And after 7 innings of play, the Mets lead 9-3. Kuzman's coming back out. Got a 6 coming off of the pitcher's card. And that's a sharp ground out for Greg Luzinski. That goes to third baseman Wayne Garrett. Over to Art Shamsky, and that's out number 1. 5-3 here in the 8th. All right. Del Unser. Unser's 1 for 3 today. You got a 10 coming off of the batter's card. It's a short single with a question mark. They're both lefties, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 7 for Kuz. And that's out number 2. Here's Gary Maddox. Maddox is 0 for 2 with a walk. Got a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to second baseman Felix Mion. Over to Art Shamsky. And that's a 4-3, out number 3. And the Phillies go quietly in the 8th. So after 7.5, it's the Phillies 3. The Mets 9. All right, Chris Short coming back out. He's going to face his counterpart, Jerry Kuzman, who is 0 for 3. He rolls an 8 off of the batter's card. It's a sharp ground out to second baseman Dave Cash. Over to Del Unser, and that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th. All right. Back to the top of the order for the Mets and Tommy Agee. We're going to bring a pinch hitter in just to get some other players in this game. It's going to be an old favorite of mine. It's going to be Lee Mazzilli. Lee Mazzilli is going to come in and play center field in the 9th. May not be the smartest move, as AG's the better defender, but I wanted to get Lee Mazzilli in the lineup. So here with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th, Lee Mazzilli. And he is a 2. So the Mets drop to a 19, but they are still the daring team. Okay. So Lee Mazzilli, with 1 out, faces Chris Short. And we have a 4 coming off the pitcher's card. And that's a strikeout. Tough break for Mazzilli. That's out number 2. Strikeout number 2 for Short. Yes, strikeout number 2 for Short. Okay. So there's 2 away for Felix Mion. And that's an 8 coming off of the batter's card. It is a sharp ground out to second baseman Dave Cash. Over to Del Unser, out number 3. So the Mets don't score in the bottom of the 8th. Last chance for the Phillies as we go to the 9th inning. The Mets lead 9-3. Koosman going for the complete game. He'll face Boone, Boa, and whoever's going to bat for the pitcher. All right. So Boone, you have a 7. That's take a gamble coming off the pitcher's card. It's a bounce out to second. Second baseman 0 kicks the ball around for an error. But Felix Millan is not a 0. Felix Millan is a 2. So it is a bounce out to second. So that's Millan to Shamsky, 4-3 for the first out here in the 9th. Brings up Larry Boa. 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to right fielder Dave Kingman for out number 2. So the last chance for the Phillies is going to be Willie Montañez. No, let's bring somebody else up who hasn't played yet. Raymond Aviles. All right. Raymond Aviles is going to bat for Chris Short. Pinch hit in the 9th. And put that there. That's Aviles. He's going to face Jerry Koosman. Last chance for the Phils. We have a 4 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a walk. It's a 2-out walk. Aviles on first. And back to the top of the order in Dave Cash. Mets lead 9-3. That's a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a pop-up to the shortstop, Bud Harrelson. He's underneath that. Makes the catch. That's out number 3. And the Phillies go down to the Mets 9-3. See if we can get the totals. The Phillies had 3 runs on four hits and no errors. The Mets had 9 runs on nine hits and no errors. Winning pitcher, Jerry Koosman. He pitches the complete game. Loser is Rick Weiss. And the Mets take a 2-1 series lead here in the 70's rival series using time travel baseball. Remember, these cards are created by Daniel Forcier. You can get in touch with Daniel through the Time Travel Baseball Game Facebook group. If you're interested in more information about his cards, he has all-time best decades teams for the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I believe. He also has some Negro League teams and World Baseball Classic teams as well, I believe. But you can get that information from Daniel. That's going to do it for this episode of Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. Thanks for hanging out. If you're a subscriber, I thank you for that. Don't forget about the contest from episode 26. And I'll be back again in the near future with another replay or gameplay or unboxing. I have an unboxing coming. Just haven't got it in the mail yet, but that's coming up soon. But anyway, I'll be back soon. And until then, take care.